Planet Dolan. Some discipline is a good thing, helps students to stay focused and get busy learning. But do some teachers lose sight of the purpose of the punishment? How do they manage to keep their jobs? Here are 15 teachers who took punishment way too far. I'm Danger Dolan, and today I will be your narrator.
Number 15.
Cutting a student's hair. Irritated by a student's constant playing with her hair braids, a Milwaukee first grade teacher decided to remove the problem by cutting it off. 7-year-old Lamia Kamen was called in front of the whole class and had the offending braid removed with a pair of scissors by a frustrated teacher. The girl's furious mother demanded an apology from the school, and the teacher received a $175 fine for her scissor-happy conduct.
Number 14.
Holding hands. When two Arizona students got into a fist fight in the schoolyard, the principal gave them the option of suspension or public humiliation. They chose the latter, which involved the two boys being forced to sit and hold hands outside while the other students of the school laughed and teased them. The punishment was criticized for encouraging bullying and for fueling the idea that two men holding hands is somehow shameful.
Number 13.
Lunch on the floor. A New Jersey school board was forced to pay out a settlement of $500,000 to 7 5th grade students whom the vice principal had punished by making them eat their lunch off the cafeteria floor. The students were part of a class of 15 Hispanic students from the bilingual class who had their trays and chairs removed as a penalty for spilling a water cooler, which didn't seem bad enough to deserve being treated like dogs.
Number 12.
Standing in the rain. When central England was hit by Storm Angus in 2016, torrential rainfall hit the area hard. A teacher in Staffordshire, arriving late to class, found a few of the students misbehaving. As punishment, the whole class was made to stand outside for 20 minutes in the pouring rain, which one parent said sounded like something out of Guantanamo Bay. Fortunately, none of the students got sick, but the teacher was suspended by the school. I mean, what's next? Like little Timmy drops his pencil and so the punishment is waterboarding? Like, Jesus.
Number 11.
Face drawing. In an effort to boost reading in her class, a 4th grade teacher in Idaho ruled that students who didn't meet their reading targets would have their faces drawn on by classmates. A punishment, while traditionally reserved for drunk college kids, the 10-year-olds would return home covered in marker pen mustaches and scribbled writing. Parents were unhappy that their children were being turned into canvases just because they didn't read words good.
Number 10.
Chained to the school. A student at a madrasa or Islamic school in Hyderabad, India, had run away from the school repeatedly to escape the regular beatings he claimed to be receiving. To prevent this, one of the teachers chained the boy by the leg to make sure he couldn't get away. A passerby spotted the captive pupil outside the school and telephoned the local police, who released him. Several other students were reported to have been kept in a similar way. You little shits are gonna learn today, or you'll get a bag over your head like little Timmy.
Number 9.
Monster Closet. Inspired by the book After School Monsters, which they were reading their kindergarten class to, 2 teachers in Texas punished a misbehaving 4-year-old by locking him in a janitor's closet. They told the child that there was a monster in there, and they held the door shut for 5 minutes, while the child was trapped in the dark with only his terrified imagination. Both teachers were, unsurprisingly, suspended.
Number 8.
Human punching bag. In another case from a Texas kindergarten, a teacher was faced with the decision over how to punish a student accused of hitting another child. In an eye for eye style punishment, the teacher had the 20 other students in the class line up and take turns punching the offender, encouraging them to hit him harder as she watched. The teacher was convicted for child abuse, as forcing children to fight is generally frowned upon even in Texas.
Number 7.
Stuffed in a bag. A special educational aide in Kentucky dealt with a difficult student by putting him into a duffel bag and drawing the string tight. The boy was left in the bag until his shocked mother arrived at school. The school claimed that the bag was part of a therapy process, but the student, who suffers from autism, remained traumatized and uncommunicative after the ordeal. A nationwide petition has since called for an end to the abusive practice.
Number 6.
Amputated legs. In the Malaysian state of Johor, an 11-year-old boy at a religious school was beaten with a water hose for making too much noise in assembly. The students' legs were slapped repeatedly with the hose till they were bruised all over. The injuries were so severe that the boy was in hospital shortly after with both legs amputated. He ended up falling into a coma and dying from his wounds. So guys, the next time you make a funny noise in class and everyone laughs, just bear in mind that you're gonna lose your fucking legs.
Number 5.
Torture hole. After school teachers in an after school program in Manhattan dealt with one particular student by forcing him into a hole in the ceiling which measured only 40 by 70 centimeters. Other students were kept in order by being threatened with the same punishment, which left the 6-year-old boy traumatized, unable to sleep in the dark on his own. All staff involved were terminated immediately.
Number 4.
School lunch shaming. In schools in several countries, students from poor backgrounds are being punished for their parents' inability to afford lunch fees. A school in London takes away students' hot meals, gives them a sandwich and a piece of fruit, and places them in isolation until their parents pay any outstanding costs. Senators in the US have come together to end similar practices in America, arguing that children should never be shamed for their parents' financial position. And also, generally, it's not a good idea to hold kids hostage for money.
Number 3.
Death from kneeling. A 10-year-old girl from near Hyderabad in India hadn't done her homework, so the teacher allegedly forced her to kneel on the hard floor for 2 hours. Several muscle cramps affected circulation in her legs, and she was hospitalized later that day. The girl died a week later, sparking a strong protest from family and supporters who stormed the school and destroyed furniture. Several charities called for the removal of the school's license.
Number 2.
Electric Shocks, a special needs facility near Boston, has come under fire for its use of aversion therapy. Electric pads are fitted to autistic children, and the children wear them all day. Staff at the school can administer electric shocks to the troubled kids using remote controls as a way of controlling their behavior, kind of like dogs. The method has been described as barbaric and falls under the United Nations definition of torture. Guys, you know what the best cure for autism is? Electricity.
Number 1.
Beaten to death. A teacher in northern South Africa faced murder charges in summer 2017 after punishing a teenage pupil with a beating. The student was hit so hard with a wooden stick that he was knocked off his feet and left paralyzed. He later died in hospital from complications associated with the assault. The boy had been accused of stealing just over $10. Hardly a crime punishable by death. This video was made possible by our fans over on Patreon. Thanks for your support, guys. That is it for this countdown. Have a good one!